are tonight's winning Lotto Minnesota numbers. We'll repeat these numbers in a few minutes during KARE 11's News at 10. From your 24-hour news station, this is Paul Majors, Diana Pierce, Jeff Passolt, and meteorologist Paul Douglas. And this is KARE 11 News at 10.
Good evening. Police now believe someone murdered civil rights activist Earl Craig Jr. in his Minneapolis apartment. The investigation to find out who did it and why headlines the news tonight. In a moment, we'll also tell you about allegations of sexual assault against teenage girls at a Western Wisconsin treatment center. Also, a jury returns its verdict in the lawsuit filed by former anchor Ruth Spencer against KSTP television. And we'll find out why Tom Brokaw's visit to the Twin Cities has provided Minnesota with something money can't buy. But we begin with the latest on the murder of civil rights activist Earl Craig Jr. His body was found yesterday in his Minneapolis apartment. KARE 11's Dave Wildermuth is in our newsroom with tonight's developments. Dave?
Yesterday, the medical examiner said preliminary indications were that Craig died of natural causes, but tonight, after the autopsy was concluded, we learned that he was stabbed in the neck. Now the questions are, who did it and why?
At this point, we need to pinpoint where he was and who he was with before we can determine whether it was somebody he knew.
Police have retraced Craig's comings and goings up to midnight Saturday night. They now say they believe he was killed sometime Sunday. When his body was discovered Tuesday in his apartment, it was bloated, which may explain why police failed to see the stab wound. At Craig's apartment today, investigators found no sign of a struggle, no forced entry, which may suggest he knew his killer. At 52, the director of the Minneapolis Neighborhood Revitalization Program was a model public servant. But Craig's private life, say friends, was long a matter of debate and concern among colleagues and admirers. Craig was openly gay and said to be sexually promiscuous. Police say it is one of many avenues being explored.
At this point, we're not limiting the investigation to a particular lifestyle. We're more interested in finding his movements and his whereabouts after we can pin it down to midnight Saturday night.
A friend, Spike Moss, says leads should be pursued, but warns that Craig's personal life should not be sensationalized.
This man has done enough for human beings as a human being to be deserving of a thorough investigation, not in terms of mudslinging, but in terms of justice and finding out who killed Earl Craig.
Authorities are hoping that Craig's Jeep, which is missing, may provide some answers. It is a 1991 Jeep Cherokee, 4 doors, black in color. It has a Minnesota license plate number 186DWX. And anyone with any information should call police at 673-3405. Police are hoping to get some calls because they definitely need some tips in this case.
Dave, does now the delay in determining how he died slow its investigation down?
Well, police say no because they said that they were initially treating this as a possible homicide anyway. So they had investigators working the case. We asked that question at the news conference today. They say no, that they have not lost any time in this case.
All right, thank you. Charges of sexual assault and allegations of a possible cover-up are surfacing tonight in Prescott, Wisconsin. Authorities arrested a man who they say attacked at least 4 patients at a center which treats teenagers for psychological and chemical dependency problems. KARE 11's Dennis Stauffer reports.
River Hills is a treatment center designed to help troubled teenagers, but it may have added to the troubles of some patients who were victims of sexual assault by another patient.
Investigators believe at least 4 female patients, ages 13 to 15, were sexually abused here by a male patient over a period of about a year.
The suspect is one Michael Taylor, who was from near Chicago when he was being treated here. He was just arrested late today in Arizona. And there's another problem.
There are allegations that staff was aware of incidents and did not report them.
Just yesterday, Pierce County Sheriff's deputies seized patient records from River Hills to find out who knew what and when.
They're still going through the records, but the investigators told me that there are some items in there that'll help that case.
Riverside Administrator Ron Rowe today said he didn't know his employees' actions were being questioned.
This is the first that I've heard that employees knew about something and didn't report it, and that's something that we cannot and will not tolerate.
The charges against Taylor were filed today. Charges are still pending against one or more Riverside employees who may have violated Wisconsin's mandatory reporting law. Dennis Stauffer, KARE 11 News, Prescott, Wisconsin.
River Hills is owned by a California-based company called Medical Enterprises. It's been named in national stories about allegedly improper practices at some of the company's 90 other facilities. An off-duty security guard is dead after he was shot with his own gun early this morning in Mankato. Police say another man grabbed 22-year-old Paul Weidell's gun and it went off while the two men wrestled over it. Police say the shooting was not the result of a fight. No charges have been filed. An entire year of planning is about to pay off for the Minneapolis Police Department. 400 officers will be on duty Super Bowl Sunday for everything from crowd control to traffic duty. Police say they don't expect things to be as difficult as the World Series, but they've tried to plan for every situation.
We've anticipated a lot of different bad things happening, which I really don't care to go into, but that's our job. We're supposed to anticipate bad things happening.
Police will be setting up a perimeter on Super Bowl Sunday, meaning drivers won't be allowed near the dome. If, as rumored, President Bush drops in for a Super Bowl visit, security would be even tighter. We have some updates tonight on a couple of stories we've been following this week. 18-year-old John Thompson was taken off the respirator today at North Memorial Medical Center. He's the North Dakota teen who underwent a rare surgery over the weekend to reattach both of his arms. They were cut off in a farm accident. He was well enough today to ask his nurse for some orange juice. More surgery is scheduled for tomorrow. And a jury today found KSTP Television guilty of intentionally making false representations to former anchor Ruth Spencer. The jury awarded Spencer $82,000 in back pay. Spencer had asked for twice that amount. Jurors agreed with Spencer that Channel 5 misrepresented its intentions to diminish her role in the newscasts. Spencer was fired after secretly taping a conversation with her boss. The trial is now in its second phase to determine whether Channel 5 should pay punitive damages to Spencer. President Bush isn't officially a candidate for re-election yet, but he sure looked like one today. The president made several stops in New Hampshire, including a surprise visit to a dairy farm near Portsmouth. Mr. Bush didn't reveal any specific strategies for the economy, but he promised to address that issue during his State of the Union speech later this month. President Bush's Russian counterpart is also battling economic problems. Angry taxi drivers threatened to block Boris Yeltsin's motorcade route today in St. Petersburg. Yeltsin is urging the starving Russian people to be patient and give his reforms a chance to work. And the European community today recognized the war-torn Yugoslavia republics of Croatia and Slovenia as independent countries. The latest ceasefire in Yugoslavia's civil war has held for 2 weeks. Yugoslavia is protesting the EC's decision, claiming it violates Yugoslavian sovereignty. At this time last year, Americans were on the edge, fearing the Gulf War was about to begin. This is the eve of the war's first anniversary. Tonight, veterans gathered in Minneapolis for a service of remembrance and Thanksgiving. After the lighting of candles, they read the names of the 7 Minnesotans killed in the Gulf War. They also paused to pay tribute to veterans of other American conflicts. The bombing began in the Gulf on January 16th. Tomorrow night, we'll look back at the conflict and see how it's changed our lives since then. Well, if you watched KARE 11 tonight, you know NBC's Tom Brokaw is in the Twin Cities. His visit provided Minnesota with something money can't buy.
Good evening from the World Theater here in St. Paul. I'm in the Twin Cities as a part
Brokaw anchored his nightly news broadcast from St. Paul's World Theater before co-hosting tonight's town hall meeting with Paul Majors. In addition to its world coverage, NBC ran 3 stories about Minnesota, telling the rest of the country about things most of us already knew. Robert Bazell put together a story about the various proposals to create an affordable universal health care system in Minnesota.
Whatever emerges, it appears that Minnesota will lead the way for health care reform for other states and the federal government. Robert Bazell, NBC News, St. Paul.
And business reporter Mike Jensen looked at why Minnesota's economy is healthier than in many other states.
Why is this part of the Midwest doing relatively well, besides government involvement? For one thing, it's diversified, farms and factories and stores. Also, in recent years, its economy has grown slowly and steadily. No boom, but also no bust. Mike Jensen, NBC News, Minneapolis.
And Roger O'Neill reported about why the Twin Cities have become a national hub for advertising agencies.
Minnesota ad companies have weathered what most agree is a depression in the ad business pretty well. And it is because of the creative talent assembled here, despite a state which some joke about having only 2 seasons, winter and July.
In all, NBC used almost 9 minutes to cover those 3 stories. They accounted for nearly 1/3 of NBC's nightly news coverage. Well, the NBC crew is probably glad to get away from the frigid weather. Paul Douglas will tell us when to expect relief from our sub-zero temperatures. Later, a sneak preview of a new NFL music video just for the Minneapolis Super Bowl. In sports, the Gophers try to give Clem Haskins something he's never had as a Minnesota coach. But next to the extra, a Twin Cities project that could present taxpayers with a record price tag.
Menards can help you save on your bath remodeling projects. Medallion vanities are on sale now. Choose from traditional or European styling to complement your new bath, starting at only $59.99. And add the finishing touch with Price Fister faucets. They're durable, stylish, and easy to install. This chrome faucet is just $19.99 after mail-in rebate coupon. Remodel your bath and save at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
All new aerodynamic design, standard anti-lock brakes, and a sticker price under $12,000. It's no surprise the all-new 1992 Pontiac Grand Am was chosen Best Buy by the editors of Consumer's Digest. If you've got an eye for styling, a thirst for driving excitement, and an instinct for automotive value, test drive the new 92 Grand Am. For your best buy on a new Grand Am, see your Pontiac Excitement dealer today.
Bugsy, nominated for more Golden Globes than any other film, 8, including Best Picture. Bugsy, rated R, now playing.
Hours a day across Europe, Asia, and America. 70,000 of the best people on the ground are working to bring you the best service in the sky.
Delta, we love to fly and it shows.
In tonight's Extra, the long and often bitter debate over whether to build a jail in downtown Minneapolis. It now appears almost certain the old Minneapolis Armory will be torn down to make room for a new Hennepin County jail. Despite appeals to save the historic armory, a judge last week ruled in favor of building the jail. But lost in the debate over the history and property values is the magnitude of the jail project. As KARE 11's Rick Capcella reports, the cost of the new facility will make history on its own.
This was the scene at the Armory in '87 when local investors celebrated a plan to turn the old building into a film and audio recording studio in downtown Minneapolis. This idea just got further than most, but like all the others, it ultimately ended in abandon, just like the old building itself these days. The debate over its value has been long and hard fought, but a Hennepin County judge has now ordered it demolished, making way for a new jail, a 1-block square, 18-story, 1,500-bed jail on a great big chunk of prime downtown real estate. The county is the one that's pushed for it. The city is absolutely appalled.
The thing that is quite surprising to us is the lack of attention that has been paid in any forum to the enormous cost that is involved in a project like this. It is likely to price out at about $210 million.
The county board insists it will cost no more than $150 million. They voted on that spending limit, which they can change if they have to. But even $150 million still qualifies it as the most expensive public works facility in state history. It's on a scale that rivals some of the greatest landmarks in the city. It's more than 50% over the cost of the Timberwolves Arena. The anticipated cost of the jail rivals the cost of the new convention center and the new First Bank Plaza. In fact, there's virtually no private facility likely to match the final cost of the totally tax-paid jail anywhere in town.
It's what it costs. You know, this is what it costs. There is no construction that's as expensive as jail construction.
The city pleaded for placement in other places, like next to the garbage burner or even across from the opera. They say the county would save $100 million taxpayer dollars by building a low-rise here as opposed to a high-rise over here. The county says the Armory is the most cost-effective place around. The Armory is a block from the county's kitchen and hospital, across the street from the crime lab and juvenile detention center, 2 blocks from the courts and the police and sheriff's departments, 3 from the public defender's office. Dara says giving up the walking distance would cost more than the $100 million they'd save by building elsewhere. Rapson says Darris is inflating the cost of time and transportation. Historians, landowners, and city attorneys have tried to stop it, arguing everything from zoning issues to land values to preservation. In court, they've lost. The county won. One of the primary pitches for preserving this place is its historical value. Built during the Great Depression, U.S. troops were trained here. For a while, it was even home to the Lakers. Lots of sentiment in this old place, but none of it with any economic base. In fact, Commissioner John Darris says the abandonment of this building has cost a huge price. The county says it's been vacant most of the last decade. This is the 4th winter with no electricity, no heat, no water. They say it would cost tens of millions of dollars just to bring the building up to code. And then what would they have?
The city has tried to sell it time and time again. Nobody will buy it. You know why nobody will buy it? Because architecturally it doesn't lend itself to any other purpose than drilling troops. There is no market for that building.
The county faces appeals now from landowners and historians. Like everything else, that costs taxpayers too. Should the city ultimately decide to join the appeal, taxpayers will be in the novel position of funding both sides of the fight. Rick Capcella, KARE 11 News.
The county board will ask whoever appeals the case in court to post a $25 million bond to cover costs associated with further delays.
Let's go, Buck. Okay, suit yourself. Now that we're using Buctril herbicide, old Buck doesn't even check the corn anymore because Buctril gives us real good control of cuckleburr, velvet leaf, and other broadleaves. And with Buctril, there's no vapor drift, so it won't burn my beans. Speaking of vapors. Oh, I can't believe this. Woo!
When it comes to controlling broadleaf weeds in corn, nothing measures up to Buctril.
Come on, Buck, open the door, buddy. Come on. Oh, don't you lay down on me, buddy.
Congratulations, Bill, to you and your LDB team on your 10th anniversary. Thank you, Corbin. Now, as a member of the LDB Technologies Group, which I am, I know you can buy AT&T, MCI, or US Sprint through LDB and save up to 20%. And LDB has features that reduce the number of minutes you get charged for, like LDB's automatic wrong number credit. LDB automatically credits me when I dial a wrong number?
That's right.
Bill, did you invent that?
Yes, we did.
That is incredible.
Thank you.
LDB is the best. Let Bill and his team prove it.
Anyone can go out and put up a used car for sale. But not just any used car carries the National Seal of Automotive Integrity. It's fully inspected, carries a warranty. You don't get that from just anyone. But then this car isn't for just anyone.
The National Seal of Automotive Integrity, the mark of value and confidence in a used automobile. Look for the seal before you make the deal.
Coming soon to selected Twin Cities auto dealers.
Sir, what if now at Perkins you could have one of 3 huge omelets for only $3.99?
I'd say that sounds pretty good.
And what if you could have that omelet plus these crispy hash browns still for only $3.99?
Hey, you guys are pretty generous.
And what if you could have the omelet, the hash browns, and these gorgeous pancakes still for $3.99?
I'd say you guys are void of any business acumen whatsoever.
Huh?
You're gonna go belly up.
But sir, it's only for a limited time.
What, you got a limited brain? How you gonna send your kids to college?
You're watching KARE 11 News at 10.
You wouldn't know it's the middle of January by walking into the Minneapolis Convention Center. The 20th annual boat show opened there tonight. It features hundreds of boats for all price ranges. Dealers say the recession and low interest rates mean boats are pretty affordable this year. Tickets are $3 for children and $6 for adults. The show runs through Sunday. You would know it's the middle of January by walking outside. Paul Douglas is already outside in the backyard. When are we getting out of the deep freeze?
Well, we've warmed all the way up to -4, Diana.
Ooh, a high.
That's right. Temperatures are headed in the right direction. A wake-up temperature of -14 this morning. I repeat my assertion that Minnesota must have been discovered during the summer months. This is just incredible. Even the old-timers, even the pioneers were grumbling today. Wind chills 50 to 70 below at times. The winds have eased up. And Alberta Clipper is going to arrive tomorrow, maybe an inch or 2 of light powdery snow. And then another reinforcing shot of cold air just in time for the weekend. I think just as cold here Saturday and Sunday. Speaking of boats and the boat show, Here's one boat that probably will not be at the boat show in Minneapolis. Look at this. This guy's snow blowing his dock. Where else on the face of this good earth would you snow blow your dock? This was after the Halloween blizzard that obviously caught many of us unprepared. Thanks to Jana Iden of Champlin for a good sense of humor. Kind of subliminal, wasn't it? Let's check out what's happening right now on the map. -4 in the Twin Cities, 15 below International Falls, -16 now in Ely. It is beginning to warm up. Teens. And the arrival of this milder air means by morning we should be about +5, +8 in the Twin Cities. Wind chills a little more reasonable in the 20 to 40 below range. Here's what today looked like weather-wise. Looked pretty good, bright sunshine. Very low pollen count, again a lack of mosquitoes. Plenty of fresh air out there. -6 the high. Actually the high is this hour at -4. My goofs, Sue, sorry. 14 below was our wake-up temperature. Right now in the backyard, it is still plenty cold. -4, cloudy, southwest winds. Wind chill 17 below. Hey, that's reasonable. Feels warmer. Not. Humidity 68. Barometer now falling. From outer space, you can see the clouds beginning to gather now across the Dakotas. Out ahead of this Alberta clipper, there is a potential for 1 to 3 inches of light powdery snow, leaning more towards an inch or two, but roads will get slick. Look at these highs. And you say, Paul, what's going to happen here over the weekend? Well, the prevailing winds are pretty much locked out of the north to northwest for at least the next week or so. And another impulse is going to come southward, preceded by snow and followed by another reinforcing jab of bitter air. And again, by Saturday and Sunday, we'll be hard-pressed to get much warmer than -5 for highs. That's pretty much it. Here's that Alberta clipper, lots of 40s and 50s. 43 Edmonton, but the warm air is going to get pinched off at the pass. It's just not going to warm up here significantly until maybe the end of next week. Tomorrow, a shot of snow, then cold. The details up next.
Introducing a whole new way to look at Pepsi and Diet Pepsi.
It's beautiful.
Start spreading the news.
Start spreading the news. It's Frank Sinatra live, in concert, in person, incredible.
Pretty teeth, dear. I grew tall, faced it all, and did it.
LDB International presents Frank Sinatra Super Bowl Friday, January 24th at Met Center. Call Ticketmaster.
Total indulgence, zero guilt. Total indulgence, zero guilt.
Weight Watchers presents the new Ultimate 200s. 11 totally indulgent, outrageous entrees. Each just 200 calories or less. From Weight Watchers.
Total indulgence, zero guilt. Yeah!
Yeah, the meeting with Nakamura went great. The way he was talking, it sounds like a done deal if we can deliver the plans by the 30th. Oh, we've got to give him a yes or no answer before he leaves town. Look, I gotta go. He said he called from the airport. It's in the bag.
Make sure you have all the phone lines you need, because it's not just a phone line, it's your bottom line. U.S. West, making the most of your time.
Well, let's get right into it so I can head indoors here quickly. The forecast tonight calls for mostly cloudy skies, temperatures rising above 0 by morning. And then tomorrow, a shot of light snow, an inch or two, maybe as much as 3 in a few spots. Roads getting slick from this clipper. Light snow and flurries, a high of 15 to 20. That'll feel nice. And then cold, temperatures falling again Friday, -5 for a high Saturday. Sunday's high, only -3. Nighttime lows around -15 over the weekend. Here's one way of staying warm. Say hi to this one's for Mike Team, the Northwest Health Clubs. And I have beside me a legend, Steve Cochran from KDWB Radio. A man who's going to be co-hosting the Cystic Fibrosis Climathon at the IDS Center coming up February 1st. A man with incredible, powerful thighs and calves. You are in terrific shape, Steve.
Thanks. I feel like I should buy you dinner.
Yeah, well, okay.
Let's give the phone number quick for information. It's 871-0462.
Right.
871-0462. And you and I are going to work out. As you know, I've been out at the airport riding the escalator. I'm kind of building up towards actually climbing stairs. So it's a great cause. It's the Cystic Fibrosis Climathon at the IDS February 1st. You and I will be there.
We need pledges.
We do need pledges.
Call the number, and we hope to see you at the IDS February 1.
Okay, and you're going to have probably one of the weather people from the weekend do it for you, I'm thinking.
Yeah. I'm taking the freight elevator.
Oh, gosh, I'm
Paul, I want you to ask Steve how many stairs he's going to climb.
How many stairs are you going to climb, Steve? Guy wants to know.
I think I'll go the first couple of flights and then do kind of like a tag thing where somebody will come along and finish it up.
Pass the baton, huh? It doesn't work like that,
2
Steve.
flights and stop for lunch.
Nice try.
Okay.
See you later.
All right. Thanks, guys. Well, it didn't look good for a while, but the Gophers staged quite a comeback tonight in Madison. Jeff Passolt will have the highlights of their last-second win in Wisconsin next. And we'll find out whether the North Stars can find the same success against the best in the NHL when we come back.
Tonight's KARE 11 weather has been brought to you in part by Walgreens.
Many pharmacies have muffled their computers. No matter how much they're coaxed, they just won't tell you about generic savings. But at Walgreens, our pharmacy computers are customer friendly. And whenever a generic equivalent is available, they print it right on the receipt with the savings. Walgreens Intercom Pharmacy System, the customer's best friend.
Here's sweet savings from Walgreens. A 6-pack of Mars candy bars is only $1.99. Look for the Olympic packages for medal-winning values from Walgreens.
I grew up thinking soup was good for me. Who didn't? Now it turns out soup could be even better. Healthy Choice has given me a soup that I love. This new soup has big chunks of meat and vegetables, only it's low in fat, cholesterol, and lower in sodium than the soup I grew up with. And you know what's amazing? It tastes just great. Now why wouldn't you try that? With Healthy Choice, the choice is yours.
3 great ways to spend the day with Light FM 103. WLTE. Turn on the light at home. Great company anytime, no matter what you're doing. And WLTE is perfect at work.
Everyone agrees on the light music.
And your workday will go by just a
Great news for Gophers and North Stars fans tonight, but boy, Gophers were on the edge of their seats.
Oh, I'll tell you, both games were really exciting. And we get to talk about winners. That's always nice,
That's
right?
great.
Montreal with the best record in the National Hockey League, but the North Stars determined to prove that things are on the upswing at the Met tonight. The Stars with over 13,000 on hand, wearing those John Casey goalie masks. And it turned out to be a pretty good game for Casey and his teammates. 51 shots on Patrick Roy. Dave Gagne scores one of 3 goals in 3 minutes that blew it open for the Stars. Gagne's 18th of the year was 2-1. Mike Modano scoring moments later, knocking in the rebound. Modano's 16th of the season, and the Stars beating the NHL's top team. The final was 5-2. It's the All-Star break now. The game set for Saturday at Philadelphia. Now to the Gopher basketball squad. Clem Haskins' winless streak at Wisconsin is over. Another incredible finish in Madison, but this time the Gophers came out on top. And more proof of what a great player their young freshman guard, Vashawn Leonard, really is. The Gophers trailing at the half 28-15. Leonard didn't even score his first bucket until there were 6.5 minutes to play. That one cut it to 7. Now to the final minute, and Leonard nails another pair of three-pointers. 4 straight from three-point range for the Gopher freshman, trimming Wisconsin's lead to just 1. To get the ball back, the Gophers were forced to foul, but they picked the Badgers' hottest hand. Brian Good hadn't missed a free throw all year, 24 for 24 from the line, but watch this. Both rattled off the rim, and the Gophers got one last chance to take the lead with under 30 seconds to go, so they got it to their go-to guy. Vashawn Leonard drives the baseline. Watch the great follow by Dana Jackson. His only bucket of the night gave the Gophers the late lead. The Badgers tried for a buzzer beater, but not in time, and the Gophers win at Wisconsin. Clem Haskins' first ever win in Madison, ending an 0-for-5 drought. And here's the final, 49-48. The Gophers coming out on top. Leonard leading the way with 12 points, all of those in the final 6.5 minutes. The Gophers host Michigan State Saturday at Williams Arena. Their record, 2 wins now. Not bad, huh? Michigan State picking up a win over Northwestern tonight. Purdue upset Michigan, so Michigan's second loss in a row, 65-60, and Illinois losing at Iowa. A couple of top 10 scores to tell you about. Duke and Kentucky coming up with big wins this evening. In girls prep basketball action, Holy Angels in white taking on Cretin-Derham Hall. The Co-Stars were led by Shannon Curley, getting 2 of her team-high 24 points, but Cretin-Derham Hall won at home thanks to Angie Carney's long-range shooting. She buries the 3. Well, she had 27. That was a game high. Cretin-Derham Hall wins it 75-67 in St. Paul this evening. Minnesota's David Wheaton continues to climb the pro tennis ranks. Wheaton advancing to the 3rd round of the Australian Open today after winning a 5-set marathon. He'll play again tomorrow. And don't think we're going to skip any Super Bowl coverage tonight. The big story today, the NFL office has named its official flipper for the game. Chuck Noll, who just retired after 23 years as the Steelers head coach, will conduct the coin toss for the opening kickoff. Now you can sleep easy. You got your Super Bowl news. And we can add yet another big-time event to the local sports calendar, a gymnastics demonstration in St. Paul this afternoon for the NCAA Championships. The tournament comes to the St. Paul Civic Center April 24th and 25th. And we're going to go back to the NHL for our play of the day. The New York Rangers with one of the new characters in the league. His name is Ty Domi. And watch how this guy celebrates after scoring a goal. Decides to go for a little ride. Looks like the Wicked Witch of the West. Domi gets a little wound up when he scores, and he gets a little wound up when he fights, too. Kind of known as a tough guy, a little rowdy on the ice, but he's learned how to celebrate after that, too. Ty Domi of the New York Rangers, one of the new characters in the National Hockey League. We should mention that the Wolves host San Antonio tonight. Doug West selected for the NBA Slam Dunk Contest during the All-Star Weekend next month at Orlando, Florida. So the Wolves will be represented by Doug West in the Slam Dunk Contest.
Great.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
The NFL is adding some new spice to its highlight reel. A sneak preview of a touching NFL music video when we come back.
Tonight's KARE 11 Sports has been brought to you in part by Burger King.
What do you say? What do you say?
All my friends say I repeat things. I don't think I repeat things, but all my friends say I do. Like I come to Burger King for lunch, and I say, what can I get for $2 for lunch? And she says I can get 2 burgers and 2 fries for $2. I said 2 burgers and 2 fries for $2, and she says I just said that. I mean, Burger King is the only place to get flame broiled burgers cooked over a flame and fixed just the way I like it. I said thank you very much. She said I just said that. I'm really gonna enjoy this lunch. Really enjoy it.
Your way, right away at Burger King now.
There's Oprah, Donahue, Maury, Sally, Geraldo. You've seen their more outrageous sides. Now, Entertainment Tonight will show you the softer sides of TV's hottest talk show hosts.
I like getting emotionally involved on the show.
Like making a wish come true for a little girl with cancer.
When she came out with her arms open, I started crying.
Talk show hosts with a heart. The inside stories on Entertainment Tonight.
Thursday at 6:30 on KARE 11.
Here's this week's KARE 11 News Express Run. Minneapolis Route 1, St. Anthony to downtown Minneapolis. Leaves Apache Plaza at 7:29 a.m., Broadway and Stinson at 7:43. Arrives 8th Street in Hennepin at 7:58 a.m. Join KARE 11 News and the MTC for a free ride on the KARE 11 News Express.
Before we go, a sneak preview of a new music video designed for the NFL and the Super Bowl. It's called The Heart of a Hero, and it's about pro football players helping children in need. All proceeds from the video will be donated to the Children's Miracle Network. We'll leave you tonight with a sample of that song. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Win
Hi, I'm Bob Costas, and it happens to be a scientific fact that you only need 3-4 hours sleep a night tops. So stay up for later here on KARE 11, your 24-hour news station.
How do I know where to get my brakes done right?
Come to Midas. You get a lot of value for the price, and you get something else. Peace of mind. Knowing you get a thorough inspection by Midas-trained experts and a written estimate up front. Knowing every brake shoe and pad is guaranteed for as long as you own your car. And knowing the job will be done right. When it comes to brakes, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Now you can get $10 per axle off. Quality Midas brake service.
You could probably come up with a million reasons for staying inside this winter. But go ahead, live a little. Pick up your 1992 Winter Carnival button at the following locations and enter to win a Bahamas trip for two, cold cash, or airfare anywhere.
Ethan Allen introduces the American Impressions Collection. Just because you don't have a lot of money to throw around doesn't mean you have to live with disposable furniture. Right now, there's a sale at your Ethan Allen Gallery.
Cheers is filmed before a live studio audience.